What's up, world? Uko here from Better Therapy Now, where you sharpen your discipline, the art of asking better questions. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and been like, wow, that was a very deep conversation. That conversation is going to stick with me forever. I'm going to make like the life decisions based on this conversation. I feel really fulfilled in this conversation. Well, what brings life to that conversation? It is the art of asking better questions. It's the questions that are asked and are the follow-up questions that are asked that get you to those very motivating, life-changing, moving the needle forward and progressing questions or conversations that you remember. So why ask better questions? One, let's start with I guess some research. Harvard Business School did a study where they found that people who ask more open-ended questions are more likable, are more sociable, and have more friends, and ultimately have more fulfilling lives. And people who ask more open-ended questions invite more answers, invite more details and specifics, and it makes them much more emotionally attuned to others. Open-ended questions not only make you more persuasive when you're speaking with others, but it makes you happier and feel more fulfilled. Open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions. So closed-ended questions just are, they invite yes or no answers. Did you like this restaurant? Open-ended questions invite more details. So in the same topic, what was your favorite thing about this restaurant? Or even better, what's it like eating at this restaurant? When you ask an open-ended question, it's impossible to say yes or no to. There's a few concepts surrounding asking better questions and the art of asking better questions that I really think are important. The first one is A More Beautiful Question by Warren Berger, where she talks about innovative questions. She describes a beautiful question as an ambitious and actionable question that can shift the way we think about something. And she breaks down how to ask beautiful questions in the why, what if, how framework. The why, what if, how framework is a three-part way of asking better questions, and it almost requires different personalities to do the three different sections of beautiful questions. The why section is the type of person that always identifies holes in a situation or a system or somebody's life. They're like investigators of different things in the world, and they're able to identify at least the right initial question. The what if person is imaginative. They look at the question that somebody asks and they say, what if we did it this way? The example that Warren Berger uses in her book is the Airbnb example, where they said, or where they asked, what if we could rent out bedrooms in people's homes instead of going to hotels? This opens up an entire new market in the economy. And then the last portion of the beautiful question framework is the how. This is where you have kind of a implementer like personality, somebody who has ideas of how to make processes and put things into life. They ask questions about how to make something actually happen. So if the Airbnb example is like, well, how do we set up Airbnb as an app and get people to actually offer their bedroom so that they can make a little bit of money on the side? She introduces practical strategies for asking better questions. The first one is slowing down. Take a few moments to think before jumping in and asking a bunch of questions. Try to identify what the more strategic question is. The best thing that I found for slowing down and asking better questions, not only of other systems in the world around you, but asking better questions of yourself, is longer meditations. Meditating for 45 to 60 minutes or even 90 minutes. You get past all the chaos that's going inside of your head. You zero in on more specific things in your life, and you begin to ask yourself questions in ways and see yourself in ways that you never really thought before. But it's very difficult to sit there for 60 or even 90 minutes to get to that point where your mind's calm enough to ask those better questions. Next is keep a question journal. I used to watch a whole lot of creative writing videos, and one thing that I found very useful is there was this writer in California. I think he was a professor at UCLA's creative writing school, and he was talking about how people get over humps when they get stuck in a story. And what he suggested is just brainstorm how you can deal with a story hump, or I guess a block in a story or a challenge in a story, in 20 different ways at least, or more. And he's like, the first three or four solutions that you come up with, or even questions or ideas that you come up with, will be very surface level and almost automatic. Then by the time you get to 10, it'll be a little bit harder. By the time you get to 15 different ways to deal with a situation or challenge, it'll feel nearly impossible. And by the time you get to 20 or 25, you really start coming up with really new, innovative ways to address those challenges. And I think that's also true for question asking. And that's why I think the 60-minute meditation is really important and really useful, because it gives you that time to really zero in and think about one singular thing. The next skill when it comes to asking better questions and the art of asking better questions is rethinking. So you have things that you believe, you have your assumptions and things that you think about, but rethinking those things and then thinking of those things with mental flexibility instead of mental rigidity. In a world that's constantly changing, you want to be able to update your beliefs. So that means that you have to kind of detach yourself from your assumptions and your ideas. You don't want to link your identity with your ideas. And you have to understand that your identity is not your ideas. And this is why you have to practice a life of mental flexibility. In the book, Think Again by Adam Grant, he talks about 3 different traps that we fall into when it comes to this. One is the preachers. So the preacher tries to defend their belief relentlessly. Next is the prosecutor. So these are kind of the haters, the people that attack everybody else's beliefs. And then lastly, there's the politician, the person that is just trying to please others and win favor. And all 3 of these traps, they're trying to, or the person is incapable of mental flexibility and really just dependent and kind of lost in mental rigidity. They're not going to change their beliefs. Ultimately, you don't want to blind yourself from new learning. And that's where kind of confidence comes in and a new perspective on confidence. Confidence doesn't mean that you have all the answers. Confidence in the art of asking better questions is that you are willing to be more mentally flexible and admit that you're wrong sometimes. You have to develop confident humility, the idea that you are willing to admit that you're wrong sometimes and that you're more dedicated to the idea of improving rather than being right all the time. So here's 7 essential questions that you can start asking today when you're interacting with others to practice the art of asking better questions. Number 1 is the Kickstarter question, what's on your mind? This opens the door to more meaningful questions and gives the other person an opportunity to talk about what is most important to them. When you're communicating with somebody, and this was really explained in Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg, he says that, or he argues that people are giving you clues to what they want to talk about as you are conversing with them. Next is the all question, which is asking them, and what else? This invites them to get a little bit deeper into what they want to talk about. Next is the focus question, asking them, what's the real challenge here for you? Number 4 is the foundation question, asking them, what do you really want? This question helps you get clarity about what they want to talk about and what is really bothering them or what really interests them. Number 5 is the lazy question, asking them something like, how can I help? This stops you from jumping in with solutions and allows them to tell you kind of what they want from you or what they want to talk about. Next is a strategic question, asking them, if you're saying yes to this, then what are you saying no to? This invites focus and prioritization in the conversation. And then lastly is the value question, asking them something like, what was most valuable for you here, or what was most useful, or what did you learn from this experience? This invites reflection. So let me know in the comments below what challenges you have when it comes to asking questions. I'm Uko from Better Therapy Now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.